What is going on, Misfit Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, the Misfit. This is your Monday Night Raw review for October the 9th, 2023. A new era seems to be happening backstage. And what I mean by backstage, in the creative room for WWE. It seems like Vince McMahon is out yet again. And Triple H is back in control yet again. Possibly 100%. But we'll tell you all about that in just a little bit as we get these plugs out of the way here. You can follow the social media at PileDriverPulse on the Twitter, Misfit Wrestling Pod on Instagram. You can find youtube.com/@Misfit Wrestling Podcast. You can follow the other audio outlets, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, which is apparently going away. I've just found out about that the other night. Audible and Pandora. Unfortunately, this weekend I didn't get a Fastlane review up, or did I get the Stardom pay-per-view review up? I will do that during the Pile Driver Pulse, which I have not recorded yet. I'm going to record that immediately after this episode of Monday Night Raw is over with here. Let's talk about this entire situation here. So let's talk about it here. So this is from I would say, well, not Fightful. Fightful did put out a report here, but this is coming off the stuff with the PW Insider. PW Insider reported earlier today that seems like backstage morale feels like Vince McMahon is no longer in creative. And if I can find the PW Insider thing about that, and if I can find it here, here we go. PW Insider reported that there's a belief within WWE that Vince McMahon is no longer involved with the creative end of things, and that Triple H has been basically knighted by Endeavor. And he is the one who's driving 99% of the creative going forward and not Vince McMahon. I kind of feel like there is a tug of war. There will be a tug of war, and sometimes Vince will give his thoughts and they'll go with what Vince wants. But I'm told, this is from Mike Johnson, PW Insider, that week to week in the weeds, they're going with what Triple H wants. Fightful added on to this, they said there have been things have been different on Raw and SmackDown, in case you haven't noticed. I have noticed them tonight with this incredible episode of Monday Night Raw, which I am going to talk about in just a little bit here. PW Insider reported what Fightful mentioned on a Raw post show this past week, Monday. Things had appeared a little different on the surface. They expanded, saying there's been a bit morale boost associated with the line of thinking that Triple H is largely directing the creative again and not Vince McMahon. We can confirm that this is a significant prevailing belief within the company. There is a significant prevailing belief within the company that there has been a significant boost in optimism in the recent weeks over the 8 or so months that preceded it. Locker room morale had hit an all-time low at the start of 2022, largely due to McMahon's lack of creative direction, before recovering significant under Triple H later in the later part of the year, which, Vince got outed and Triple H became head of creative starting from SummerSlam to January of earlier this year. Talent have not been told outright that Vince McMahon is no longer involved, and most of them were never outright told that Vince had been making changes after returning, though all of them knew it, which is true because that happened on the Raw after WrestleMania. That was all Vince McMahon, which is why I took a break for a couple of weeks after that show to review WWE television. And I couldn't do it because that even put my morale of the company down. So Fightful continues about this whole thing here. In December, Vince McMahon was internally declared his intent to push his way back into the company to seek a sale. However, in February, Fightful was told by talent that McMahon's creative forces were being felt, which is true. It's worth noting that nobody within creative that we spoke to, that we've spoken with, worked directly with Vince McMahon in 2023, and he didn't sit in on creative meetings. Instead, he would usually make remote changes remotely and submit them. Often shortly before the show. One exception was the Raw after WrestleMania, which I just talked about, which saw significant sweeping changes through the show during, before, and after the show, or during and before the show, maybe even after the show. Who knows? We were told that over the last few weeks, many of those late changes have stopped, and outside of the ones that happened due to medical clearances or, whatever the other reason would be, even then, word that we received was that Vince McMahon changes existed before then, but were fairly minimal, especially as compared to how things used to be. I'm going to get a sip of my drink here before I finish this report. This is a big one. Fightful continues. Regarding Vince being quote unquote out for good unanimously, there was a I'll believe it when I see it approach from talent and staff. WWE in a official capacity were adamant after McMahon's initial retirement that he would not be returning. Fightful had long heard that endeavor looked upon Triple H fondly. Morale has been boosted over the last couple of weeks, starting with the September 25th episode of Monday Night Raw, which was, again, that's the start of very good string of good shows of Raw since then. Numerous WWE talent reached out to us after stories emerged today, expressing the same sentiment. One WWE higher up told us that, and I quote, or Fightful quotes, whatever, "I think you can take a look at the show. Johnny Gargano is back after his return was nixed. Tegan Nox is another show. Dragon Lee got called up to SmackDown, is all over the program. Had a great fucking match with Dominic last week on Raw. Carlito is back, finally being factored into the plans they had for him in the LWO. Cameron Grimes got back on television. Bronson Reed is winning matches. He's gonna get a Intercontinental Championship match against Gunther next week, which I can't wait to talk about that. That's gonna be good. Tag title matches and IC title matches getting longer getting longer matches to end Raw. They're main eventing their shows. I'm not going to say that those were a direct result of the situation, but all of those parts moving at the same time is a little too much of a coincidence for me, is what the WWE higher up told Fightful. One WWE talent said that their feeling was that most people on the roster felt a sense of relief when McMahon retired. From both a morale and creative standpoint, they said that answering for Vince McMahon's behavior isn't what most of them signed up for, and beyond that, there wasn't a lot of creative confidence in him. There hasn't been a creative confidence in him in many, many years. So, McMahon settled a lawsuit with ex-WWF referee Rita Chatterman, who accused him of doing the R word to her in the 1980s, which McMahon's lawyer claimed he did to avoid cost of the litigation. I believe that's what it says there, between settlements and other DNA payouts regarding to personal conduct. McMahon has paid out over $30 million, and after brazenly putting himself on TV for no reason, which he did immediately, like not even the very next day, Either it was the next day or 2 days afterwards of the whole sexual misconduct stuff that came out. He's like, he comes out there and does all that stupid shit of on SmackDown, says whatever the fuck he says, and then goes to the back and says, fuck him. Was what he did. I mean, I'll use stuff and all that stuff here. So all that good stuff as well. I originally I was like, I'll believe when I was one of those people. I'll believe it when I see it. And then Xia Li got on television tonight. I mean, that I don't think that would have happened under Vince McMahon. DIY is back. Things that Triple H wanted to do after WrestleMania, he's finally getting to do. And you know what? I'm gonna probably say this here. If Vince says he wants Charlotte to beat Io Sky for the championship on SmackDown, Triple H can be like, nope. Triple H has that say now. Man, if he's full and creative like that, Triple H is not going to have Io Sky just drop the title just because Vince wants it anymore. And that I'm all for. And let's talk about this incredible episode of NXT. Not NXT. I'll talk about, I'll talk about NXT at the end of the show because that shit is I'm loving what's going on over there with NXT and AEW. That will be covered tomorrow. This will be the second AEW NXT review, head-to-head review that I've done for the channel here. So I can't wait to do that. Okay, I'm not actually looking forward to it because not because I'm not because as me as a fan. I'm looking forward to that as a fan. Me as a content creator, I'm gonna fucking hate that. Also, so the other stuff that's going to be on the pile driver post, I'm going to go over Fastlane, and I'm going to go over Stardom's Golden Fight show, which was a great show. Some weird booking decisions that I'm not a fan of on that show. Same thing with Fastlane. I'm going to go over SmackDown. Did I review SmackDown this week? Last week? I don't think I did. Look here. No, I didn't. So all I'll have to do is do SmackDown. I'm probably gonna skip doing Rampage from now on, and I'll talk about Collision. Maybe, who knows? But that's for the pile driver pulse. But let's go over Monday Night Raw here. I've gotten 12 minutes into this whole shtick about Vince McMahon. I don't want to talk about him anymore. So let's talk about this show. Monday Night Raw saw a few things on the show. We've seen a tag team title match with the new tag team champions, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, which is still awkward to hear come out of my mouth here. We've seen Becky Lynch defend her NXT Women's Championship. I'll talk about Becky Lynch here because there is an update on Becky Lynch from Fightful that I'm going to talk about when we get to that match. She defended against Tegan Nox. Ivar and Kofi had a great match. I'm loving what they're doing with Ivar here, but let's open the show with Seth Rollins, the man who should have lost on Saturday to Shinsuke Nakamura. Actually, to me, if I'm being honest, Seth Rollins should have lost the title to Finn Balor too, because just how I feel at this point with Rollins as champion. Like it's weird. Like we all push for Rollins to be champion, but when he wins the title, they don't really book him as a champion here. Maybe with this new direction, this new morale with Vince out and Triple H in, maybe Seth Rollins gets better resources now with his title run. Rhea, we talked about this with Rhea, and I'll get to Rhea in a little bit, but Rhea, prior to this whole news, has not been getting any fucking challenges for her title. Tonight, she's wrestling Shayna Baszler next week. So who knows? Maybe EO might get a better. Kyrie's coming back here. We'll talk about Kyrie too on the Pile Driver Pulse because I I would not be surprised. They got a season premiere coming up on SmackDown with Roman Reigns is going to be there, and Triple H is going to make an appearance on the show. Probably to announce. My guess would have to be Survivor Series is going to be War Games. That's my prediction there. But I said it last night or this morning during the match, the 6-woman tag match from Stardom, where Kairi won her match in that incredible match, by the way, that I would not be surprised if Kairi pops up on the season premiere of SmackDown on Friday. But we'll talk about that later. But Seth Rollins comes out. He welcomes the fans to Monday Night Rollins. Then says that he's feeling some type of way tonight. He says he has adrenaline in the power. He says adrenaline is a powerful thing because Shinsuke Nakamura took him to his limit at Fastlane. He didn't know if he could get up at certain points, but he did. And when all was said and done, he felt like he was on top of the world. Says that once he went to the back and the adrenaline wore off, he was reminded his back was broken. Says that being world heavyweight champion is one of the greatest honors of a career, and he's just getting started. And he'll fight anyone, anywhere, which I made a joke about this on Twitter, which I think is funny. Drew McIntyre's music hits because, they're doing a fantastic job with his arc here. I love what they're doing with McIntyre. And I'll tell you why in just a little bit when we get to his match and this segment here. And I might tie both segments in. I don't know. But McIntyre comes out. Rollins asks him if he wants to shot the title. McIntyre nods his head. Rollins says that, while he wants a night off tonight, he doesn't care, and he will grant him one. McIntyre cuts him off and says, Rollins knows someone will blindside him eventually. He came to look Rollins in the eye and tell him man to man that he wants a shot the championship at Crown Jewel because he wants him at 100%. Rollins admits that he isn't used to challengers requesting a title match in that manner, and then asks the crowd what they think. The crowd voices the support, and Rollins grants McIntyre a shot. McIntyre looks to leave, but Rollins tells him to stay here and dance. McIntyre declines his offer, but says if he sees him around later on tonight, you should buy him a pint and a shot. As McIntyre is leaving up the ramp here, Damian Priest then blindsides Rollins from behind as McIntyre looks to go back up the ramp. He lands him with the South of Heaven. Priest calls Dominic to bring down Money in the Bank briefcase. Dominic does so, but McIntyre stops him, lands the Glasgow kiss onto Dominic, grabs the briefcase and tosses it like Brock Lesnar did to Braun Strowman's briefcase at SummerSlam in 2018, I believe it was. And that's how that segment ended. So, a lot of things are happening here. I love what they're doing here. They're still teasing that heel turn with Drew McIntyre. I'm all for that. I don't know how I feel about them trying to tease the cash in here when they didn't want to do it last night. Or not last night, on Saturday. So I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, so that's the first official match. Anybody assuming that Ricochet was going to wrestle Seth Rollins next, you are fucking morons. So Ricochet said it didn't matter who won the match on Saturday. He said he wanted Nakamura. People do not pay attention. And we'll talk about Nakamura too and what happened there. Because, again, they're not coincidences. And I'll talk about what coincidences I'm talking about in just a little bit here. But let's talk about this match. Ivar and Kofi Kingston had a Viking rules match that was actually really fucking cool. This was basically a Falls Count Anywhere type of match here. The bell rings. Ivar lands a boot on Kingston on the outside, right out of the gate. Kingston fires back with a crossbody, several red hands, then dumps Ivar outside the ring. There delivers a tope suicida. Ivar crashes into several of the shields surrounding the ring. Kingston goes flying, but off the steps with a crossbody and fires some more right hands. Kofi brings out a table from underneath the ring, sets it up on the barricade before Ivar splashes him onto the ring apron. Kofi then delivers a splash on the middle rope, goes for the pin. Ivar kicks out. I don't know why I was going kicks out. I don't know where that Irish was coming from a second ago. Good Lord. Kingston uses a flagpole for extra momentum, delivers the Russian leg sweep off the top rope, off the middle rope, which is a move from the Sandman, former ECW, 5-time ECW champion. Delivers a pair of kicks as Kofi, but Ivar was able to fire back with a knee to the midsection. Kofi ascends to the top rope, goes flying, but Ivar moves out of the way. Kofi sends him crashing into the shields, or onto one of the shields. Follows it up with an SOS and then a kick to the midsection. Then books the boom drop. Looks for the boom drop. Ivar rolls out of the way, delivers a spinning slam, follows it up with a power bomb. Kingston looks to send Ivar through the table that was set up on the outside, the setup in the corner rather. Ivar avoids it, landing a spinning heel kick, ascending the top rope, but Kingston pushes him off through the table on the outside there with the beard, by the way. He pulls him with the beard, which I thought was pretty cool. Valhalla then appears out of nowhere, blindsides Kingston. Woods runs down to the ring to confront her. Valhalla charges at him, but Woods sends her crashing into the barricade face first. Ivar flattens Woods with the barricade before Kingston manages to get him back inside the ring. Hits the Trouble in Paradise. Ivar catches him, sends him through the table that was in the corner, sends to the top rope, delivers the moonsault. 1, 2, 3. Ivar picks up the win. This was a lot of fun. I loved every minute of this. Ivar, I don't know, I'm glad. I'm not glad that Eric got hurt, but I'm glad that Ivar is getting to show what he can do as a singles guy. Because if they ever want to break up the Viking Raiders, Ivar will do wonders on his own, I think, as a big guy, singles guy, which I think is pretty cool here. So I give this match. So if I'm going to grade this, the matches, 1 out of 1 through 5, I'll give this match a 3.5. 3.5 star match, in my opinion. Fun match to open the main actual wrestling portion of the show here. We got Nakamura getting ready to do something about an interview. Before he can, Ricochet starts just beating down on Nakamura, and the pull apart brawl happening there. Then we see Damian Priest and Jade McDonough get involved with a physical altercation. Maybe that was a shot at CM Punk. I don't know. After what happened on Saturday, the rest of the Judgment Day runs in to break things up. Rhea informs Priest that he and Balor have a rematch with the Undisputed Tag Team titles next week on Raw. And then she tells JD to prove himself against Drew McIntyre a little bit later on tonight. Then we got a match I didn't think anybody asked for. Raquel Rodriguez versus Nia Jax didn't even fucking matter because Rhea Ripley came down to the ring to goes after Nia Jax, right? But she also then dumps out Raquel outside the ring, causing the disqualification. Goes after Nia Jax, but Raquel levels her with a pair of clotheslines. Rhea fires back with a headbutt before Shayna Baszler comes out of the ring and delivers some right hands onto Nia Jax, then delivers a German suplex and a knee to Rhea's jaw. And that's how we found out later on in the night that next week it's going to be Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler, which sounds like a lot of fun because their last match, the match they had together in NXT for the NXT title, was excellent. We had Michael Cole not sitting down, standing up doing an in-ring interview with Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, the new tag team champions. Cole asked Jey and Cody, how's it feel to be new champions? Jey expresses his excitement, says that he now is a 2-time undisputed tag team champion, and Cole says he had goosebumps watching their win at Fastlane. Says that Cody is responsible for bringing Jey over to Raw, and then asks him about finishing the story. So what I loved about this was Cole was being fucking cold as hell. Said, Cody saying like, I'm excited to be tag team champion. And Cole's like, well, yeah, that's all nice and well, but or that's all well and good, but what about finishing the story? He asks if he's content with becoming. Cole is asking this. He asks Cody if he's content with being a tag team champion, and whether or not it will deter him from finishing the story. Cody says that Cole is right about creating a moment at Fastlane and bringing Jey to Raw, and then says he's excited to be tag team champion. Cole's like, yeah, that's all well and good, but you still haven't answered my question. And he also addresses the WrestleMania loss, which I feel like Triple H was probably going to do that on the night after WrestleMania. They're just like, nah, we gotta do this program with Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes, because that was absolutely needed on television, even though it wasn't. No one asked for it. Cody asked the latter part of its question once again. Or Cole asked the latter part of the question again about it, and then addresses the WrestleMania loss, and then asks if coming up short like his dad is part of his story. Sami Zayn's incorrect music plays because the production crew is a fucking idiot. Before Cody asks the question, or before Cody answers the question, he appears along with Kevin Owens. Sami says there's a story that he wants to talk about. It involves two people named Jimmy and Jey, holding the tag team titles until two people named Sami and Kevin dethroned them at WrestleMania. Sami congratulates Cody and Jey on winning the tag titles. Says that he thinks that he deserves them. He feels himself and Owens should still have the titles, and he has mixed emotions. Owens doesn't feel the same way. He's like, I don't care. I just want the titles back. He then challenges Jey and Cody to a championship match, but he knows that that they can't accept the challenge because Jey can't stand the thought of losing to him and Sami twice, which might have gotten under Jey's skin a little bit, which was a nice dig there from Kevin Owens. But Cody's like, I accept the challenge on behalf of myself and Jey Uso. And I don't know if Jey, like, well, okay. So that was nice little stuff there. I enjoyed that stuff there to set up the main event here. Also, finally addressing the elephant in the room, the loss for WrestleMania here. We still don't know when they're going to announce who is getting traded over from Raw to SmackDown because of the Jey Uso trade, but we'll hopefully find out either on Friday or after Saudi Arabia. They'll probably wait until after Saudi Arabia, so that's just what I'm going to assume there. We get ready for a triple threat match to determine the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship next week. It's Chad Gable, Bronson Reed, and Ricochet. Ricochet comes out first, but Nakamura blindsides him. But from behind and delivers the GTS. Yes, the GTS onto Ricochet. Now, before I get into this match here, which was fun, this was another not coincidence. This was done on purpose. This is the 6th week. This is like the 4th week in a row that they've done this here. This time, for the once, it wasn't involving Seth Rollins. However, this is new. It was with Nakamura. A couple weeks ago, I believe Cody Rhodes mentioned something about being the best in the world. Seth Rollins then a week later said that he, is 100% is being best in the world or something like that. And then last week, they did the whole puppeteer thing, which is, again, to me, is a reference to Punk's first Ring of Honor pipe bomb. Then on Fastlane, before that, on SmackDown, Corey said during the rundown when they showed up the graphic for Rollins and Nakamura, said the greatest trick the devil ever played or pulled was believing that he didn't ever exist or something like that. Then on Fastlane, Corey Graves then said something about the ride long enough or whatever, which is something CM Punk put on Instagram not even a couple months ago, back in April. And then tonight, there's a GTS by Nakamura. Come on now. I am 80% sure, because I'm going to keep the 10. I'm going to keep the 10. I'm 89% sure. Actually, I'm 90% sure CM Punk is coming back to WWE. There's 10% of me saying that it's probably bullshit. Is the 10% of me saying this? The rest of it is like, no, he's coming back because yesterday and today they did 2 comic book quotes, which does not come out until if that story from Fightful didn't come out, which I will talk about that story during the Pile Driver Pulse episode after this episode here. But I think Nakamura. I think not Rollins. I think Punk is going to be at Survivor Series. It's just me saying that right now. But we got this triple threat match here. I'm gonna actually go skip through to the closing moments of the match here. Gable clinches an ankle lock onto Bronson or onto Ricochet, but Ricochet escapes. Delivers a jumping knee. The 2 men ascend the top rope, but Gable looks to hit a double underhook suplex. Ricochet lands on his feet. Gable lands Chaos Theory onto Ricochet, but Bronson Reed sends Ricochet crashing on the top of Gable. Delivers a senton to both men, and then delivers the tsunami splash onto Ricochet to win. And we got Gunther versus Bronson Reed next week on Raw, which sounds awesome as hell. Drew McIntyre defeats JD McDonough here. This is basically, a squash match in a way. Dominic tries to get involved here, tries to help JD win here, but didn't really help here. JD gets hit with a future shock DDT and the Claymore kick for the win, and Drew McIntyre gets a win here. I do want to mention something that, since I didn't get to talk about SmackDown, I'm going to talk about that on the Pile Driver Pulse, but JD sold the ever-living shit out of the Crossroads on SmackDown. Like, good Lord. It looked like somebody killed him on that Crossroads. I'm like, just sell. I just wish other people would sell it like that. That's just, there's that. So, we get a video package here. Not video package, a sit-down interview with Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano. Yes, DIY is back. Officially, the two reflect on the last 7 years together before Imperium blindsides them and leads them out. So they're going to set up a program. First program I'll fight with Imperium versus DIY. It should be a hell of a lot of fun. Because, Triple H loves tag team wrestling. Let's be real. And it's evident by how many times the Judgment Day and the tag titles have main evented Monday Night Raw. And the amount of tag matches that we had on Fastlane. When we go through Fastlane into card, you had the 6-man tag match with the LWO and the Street Profits, Bobby Lashley. You had tag title match, and then you had the LA Knight Cena tag match. The only singles match I believe on the show, I believe, I keep it wrong here, but the only singles match that was actually on that show was the main event, which was Nakamura and Rollins. So, Tegan Nox is getting ready for her match with Becky Lynch in the Gorilla's position. Natalya approaches her, wishes her best for hanging out here. And we have this really, really good match here with Tegan Nox and Becky Lynch here. At one point, Becky Lynch delivers a flying shoulder tackle here and a running forearm. She then follows it up with a Beck exploder, but Nox trips her and sends to the top rope. She lands a crossbody off the top rope, locks in a arm bar, but Nox blocks it, does onto Becky Lynch. Sends Becky crashing onto the bottom turnbuckle. She follows it up with a kick to the head, then ascends to the top rope. Becky joins her up there, but Nox was able to manage to, I guess, drape her across the top by her knees and charges at her. She locks in an armbar, but Becky then escapes, delivers a missile drop kick from the top rope, then Nox hits a T-bone suplex, sends the top rope again. She goes flying. Becky ducks out of the way, locks into this armor, and Tegan Nox taps out, and Becky Lynch retains the NXT Women's Championship. Fun showing for Tegan Nox here. Something I did want to mention before this match actually took place here. Becky Lynch was actually did a backstage interview here. She was talking basically about I'm going to retain the championship and whatnot here, but when whoever she was getting interviewed by walked off, Xia Li walked into the frame here. Said, "Well, it's nice to see Tegan Nox getting a shot, but when is it my turn?" And Becky's like, "I'm not that hard to find." So I'm very happy to see Xia Li back on my TV screen. She is very talented. I don't care what anybody else says here. They just, she just needs time to be on television to actually show people what she can do here. Because that woman was over in NXT, believe it or not. Like that gimmick that she was doing with Wendy Chu, who was at one point Mei Ying and Boa, that shit was great. I hope they bring it back. They want to bring it back, so who knows? They might actually bring that back. Triple H might actually bring that back to the main roster, so who knows? Big up Becky Lynch here. Fightful put up our report here. Said Becky is still healing from her brutal last woman standing match. What was it she did? This is that Extreme Rules match she did with TBC Stratton at No Mercy. Says, but as of 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, her status is promising. WWE sources indicated to Fightful that as of 6 p.m., Becky Lynch was scheduled to work her previously planned a match with Tegan Nox. The match was delayed from last week due to the laceration she suffered at No Mercy. If something changes, we'll post an appropriate update. So that obviously didn't happen. And so there's that. After the match, Tegan Nox and Becky Lynch shook hands in the back. We see Natalya, Kaden Carr, and Katana Chance comforting Tegan after losing to Becky. Piper Niven, Chelsea can get in there. They say, they start running their mouths, leading to Piper Niven challenging Natalya to a match next week, and Natalya accepts. So we got two women's matches announced for next week. Piper Niven and Natalya, and then Rhea and Shayna. Nakamura will take on, which I will talk about. I might as well talk about that now. Ricochet tried to look for Nakamura backstage, and was confronted by Adam Pearce saying, "Look, if you want Nakamura, you got him. Next week, Falls Count Anywhere." So that's happening next week. Also, I believe, we got the tag team title match next week against whoever wins this match until Judgment Day. Something I did want to point out here, because in the back of this stuff with Ricochet and Adam Pearce, Drew McIntyre is seen talking with Rhea Ripley. Now, I don't know what that's about, but I'm intrigued, and I'm glad that they're going back to that because I haven't seen that in months. That was a Triple H thing that he started doing, which I loved because that was one of the things I love about Triple H's booking of things is the little things. Like he will make sure you have to look on the screen to see what's happening in the background. It's like things like that matter. With the whole thing when Dexter Lumis came back, they had the whole thing about the car being totaled and shit like that. Same thing with the return of Bray Wyatt, which today marked Sunday was the 1 year anniversary of the return of the late Bray Wyatt to WWE television. I'm not even going to read that bullshit report, by the way, about Bray Wyatt on the Pile Driver Pulse. So fuck that. But yeah. So I love that stuff. Little things like that. Speaking of Drew McIntyre is getting ready for something here. Jey Uso gets out there, has some exchange of words with Drew. Sammy walks in and tries to do a few things. Jey thanks him for always having his back, and whatnot, and they go off their separate ways here. Main event, tag team titles on the line here. I'm going to once again skip to the end of the match here because I don't want to go through the entire match here. I'm already tired as it is. I still got to record an entirely separate podcast in just a little bit here. So Zayn, Rhodes, they're legal men. They go back and forth with strikes before Sami executes a back body drop. Owens and Jey tag and they go back and forth. They deliver super kicks and whatnot. So Jey goes to the top rope, looks to go flying, but Owens ducks out of the way, delivers a stunner. It's into the top rope, looks for his swanton bomb. Jey gets up and gets the knees up. Rhodes delivers a crossroads to Sami Zayn. Then delivers a double super kick to Jey Uso. No, not Jey Uso. They deliver a double super kick to Kevin Owens. And then they follow that up with the Cody Wendy, as they call it, which is a Cody Cutter 3D combination, which I think was pretty cool. And Cody and Jey Uso retained the tag team titles. After the match, Owens and Zayn shake hands with Cody and Jey Uso. And that is how Raw went off the air. So overall, this was probably one of the best episodes of Monday Night Raw of the year. And you could tell this was not a Vince McMahon butchered show outside of the audio issues and the graphic issues, and production wise it was fucking weird, but creative wise I enjoyed the shit out of this episode of Raw. It's amazing what happens when you get somebody who is very good at creative direction here, not be shackled by we got to do what Vince wants to do. As of right now, Vince has no say in what the fuck is going to happen on television. So if Triple H wants to do NXT type storytelling on main roster, he's going to be able to do that without having to listen to and hear from Vince McMahon ever again, at least for the time being. Because if Triple H starts picking up the scene, there's going to be a chance that Vince is going to be like, well, I need to stop that from happening because I don't need anybody being better than me, sir. Basically is what it is here. So there's that. Tomorrow's a big show that I'm not really looking forward to covering as a content creator because it's going to be hell on me. We get the AEW NXT Dynamite, NXT, whatever you want to call it, AEW NXT Dynamite, or whatever the fuck you can call it, review tomorrow. Things that are being announced for that show, obviously, we have, let me see if I can find the stuff for AEW Dynamite's show here. So Dynamite's got, so NXT has obviously Cody Rhodes and all that stuff here. I'll go over that one as well. We find out that Minoru Suzuki is going to take on Eddie Kingston. We're going to have some other stuff here. I don't even feel like going through the card of that show. Why should I even bother? Oh, here it is. So here's the card for tomorrow for Dynamite here. We got Swerve Strickland taking on Bryan Danielson. They will be challenged to find out, see who faces Christian Cage on Collision, I believe it is. Switchblade Jay White, who's challenging MJF for the AEW Championship at Full Gear, will be taking on Hangman Adam Page. Jon Moxley will get his rematch for the AEW All International Championship against Rey Fenix. Eddie Kingston will defend his championships on the buy-in against Minoru Suzuki. NXT is going to have, let me see if I can find NXT's card here, so I can put that up here. Let me see if I can find the NXT card for tomorrow. I have to find it here. Give me a second. Asuka will take on Roxanne Perez. Cody Rhodes will make a major announcement on the show. Braun Breaker will take on Carmelo Hayes. With Carmelo Hayes, is going to have John Cena in his corner. Braun Breaker is going to have Paul Heyman in his corner. The Undertaker is rumored to be is teasing in the minutes on the show. Who else we can tease for the show here? I don't think I know what else is going to be a tease for the show here. I'm trying to think of anything else. Probably not here. Fightful did put up that both NXT and AEW will have their first 30 minutes of the show be commercial free. AEW will have a 10-minute overrun at the end of the show. So tomorrow is going to be insane stuff there. Also tomorrow, hopefully by tomorrow, if I'm going to try to get both of these up by, I might get the pile driver pulse up by the end of the night, where we're going to talk about Fastlane. We're going to go over that. We're going to talk about Stardom, their show that they had this morning. We're also going to go over CM Punk and his whole thing with that. I might go over that. I don't know. I'll talk about SmackDown. I'll talk about not Dynamite. I'll talk about Collision. We got a main event official now for what the fuck is that damn show that's coming up on January 4th? Wrestle Kingdom 18, which we can confirm it's going to be Naito and Sonata for the title. They're going to announce on, when are they going to, they're supposed to announce something. Let me see if we can find the tweet. They're going to announce they're going to be announcing the press conference for the card for New Japan Strong, or not Japan, for the Wrestle Kingdom card. So we'll find out. We'll hopefully find out if Danielson and Okada is going to be on the show or not. So we'll find out for real this time. So I may wait until the card for Wrestle Kingdom is announced to go over to record that episode. So anyway, as I've been said, I'm at the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. Everything else will be in the description, the Twitter and all that stuff here. I will see you guys back here tomorrow for NXT AEW Dynamite. The Tuesday Night War, one night only, has returned. It's the Happy Birthday Con edition of NXT from Shawn Michaels. Until then, we're out.